Hey there everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe below, click the bell to receive notifications of new content, and make sure to visit my website, waynd.com. Today we're going to look at the swing of Pat Perez. So I got some brand new swings a couple of weeks ago. We had a great finish. And then we're going to take a look back, because I played in the 2002 PGA, and since I didn't play the weekend and there was a rain delay on Friday, I got a picture of Pat on the range, and that happened to be the first year that he had qualified for the PGA Tour. So I've got that swing. And then in 2008, I think it was, I played in the, I can't remember what they called it then, the Kemper Open or at Congressional. So I've got a couple of swings of him from there. So that should be pretty interesting to see. Let's take a look at the latest. So we got a pretty good shot here off the tee. Camera is still, and it's pretty much right behind his hands. It's a little bit on the high side, obviously, you can tell. But since the camera's stable, then some of the lines actually work. So we'll see a couple of things, and when we look back at his older swings, we can see a few differences. Now, what's real interesting here to me is the takeaway. So obviously, this is not what you would call a normal move. He's going to take the club off from behind the ball. He's going to lift the entire club up, including the grip and the club head. The club head a little extra, so you can see how the club is now pointed out a little bit. Now he's going to take it up. So this is what I would call, again, the right forearm takeaway. So as he gets to P2 here, you can see the left arm is now pretty much facing the camera. So the golf machine would call that the left arm flying wedge. And now he's going to rotate. He's got, as he goes up, he's going to rotate the forearms a bit. So he's going to keep the club up on plane. As you can see, it's pretty much perfectly on plane at P3. The other thing you can see up here is take a look at the club face up here. So we've been seeing some closed club face players, and in Perez we'll see a more open face on plane type. And as he goes to the top, he's actually going to let the club lay back even more to the left a little bit. Now this is also a fairly unique thing for a really good player, and when we talk about consistency over the years, Perez has been on tour since 2002, like I said, and in 14 of the 18 years he's won more than $900,000. He had his best year after shoulder surgery in 2017, where he won over $4 million. So he's really coming along and playing actually better now than he ever has. But the consistency is pretty remarkable. Very, very interesting to see a guy that stays out on the tour year after year and pretty much winning between $1 million and $1.7 million or $8 million. So one of the things you'll see here that you don't see amongst a lot of tour players is what would be called positive hip thrust, or as I've been calling it for many years, out of the box. So when we look at the lower body, normally you'll see depth being added and the right hip moving back behind the box in this fashion. You can see that's not the case. So you can see this movement here, which is usually a killer for most players, especially with an open face. But Perez has great control of the shaft. You can see where it is here. A lot of people would call that a little steep. He's getting a little bit vertical. But he's going to hit a nice big cut. So he's a strong guy. He's 6 feet 190. And the ball speed you can see at 170. It's not a bomber's ball speed, but it's, you know, plenty for the tour. He's going to be flying it in the 290 range. So he can bust it with the best of them. So again, you know, it's interesting that takeaway with the lift. What it does is it's gonna slightly flatten the shoulders. It's gonna keep the right arm externally rotating more so that as he gets to P3, it's the right arm, the upper right arm, is pretty much still right in front of him, keeps it from getting too far behind him, and then he can move it enough in front of him, and you can see he's going to come in much higher than the initial shaft plane, which you would probably expect as his body gets out from under him a little bit, and then he's just going to let that club release hard and hit that fade. So let's take a look at an iron swing. So we're going to see a little bit of the same thing with the takeaway. So if you watch, the club head's going to go in this direction. And here's a nice example at P2 of where the left arm is here, and the right arm, as you can see, as it works up to 3, staying nicely in front of him. I've actually been fiddling around with that kind of a backswing now. You can see as the club moves out, the right wrist is going to extend a little bit. The left wrist would probably be a little flatter here, and a nice neutral to flat position at the top, with the club definitely pointing left a little bit. Doesn't need to shallow it very much, but if you look at the hand path, where's it going? It's going right out at the ball. So there you see the shaft in good shape coming down. So a lot of the finishes that you see here are a little held off, so you see the left wrist remain extended and the club stay in front of him. So he hits a lot of these hold off kind of irons. He likes to flight the ball. Here's a swing from not quite face on. So if we watch I've got a nice face on from 2008, and it's pretty obvious that he does not move off the ball at all. And you can see it here. If his head's going anywhere, it's going just slightly to the left, and then it stays very still, backs up a little bit. And then you can see, again, pretty good example of even though it's a little blurry, you can pretty much tell that's a drive hold type release there. I think he's hitting a 3-wood here. Very solid, very stable. So let's go way back. Way back. So he probably has never seen this swing because I took it. Like I said, it's very interesting. This is Hazeltine, and Hazeltine does not have a lake on its driving range. But it did that day because on Friday of the 2002 PGA, it rained so hard they had to call the round. It rained like 3-4 inches, and the range turned into a lake. So I went out and finished and missed the cut, and then I came back with my camera and tripod on the range and started filming some guys, because if you're playing in the tournament, they won't kick you off the range. So this is a young. So Pat turned pro in '97. He played for Arizona State. They won the national championship. So he had a nice college career. And you can see, for the most part, he's a little bit more of an open-faced player, like I said, and he's always had the club out in front of him. You can see the face here. So again, it looks like he's been more of a fade type player for quite a while. So let's go side, and we'll look at this is also film he's probably never seen, so if he ever watches this. I took these pictures. Again, I was playing in the tournament, so you get to hang out on the range. I'm sure not too many guys do that. So this is what I was talking about. I don't know if he was doing a little stack and tilt type thing here, but it definitely, as you're seeing this, he's going to load a little more center with the head moving left. And then if you watch the lateral, huge amount of lateral movement here. Take a look at where the lower body is. And you can see he's never really driven the upper right arm way in front of him, but obviously his hands are able to get way forward. Grip neutral. Now if we look at the down the line view, so early days, much more upright. So you can flip it over to, I believe this is 2014, might be in the match play. So you can see, take a look at the difference in the left arm angle here. I think I got this one. Yeah, here's another one. So you can see a little hint of that club lift there, and round it off. So here he's getting the club a little more behind him. Let's look at the difference here. So, you know, players are always, and like I said, he's so consistent that even though his swing looks massively different. And that one might be a little extra flat, just because of the fact that it looks like he's got the ball slightly above his feet. But there, it's a pretty good example. So if we go to that iron shot again on just last week, pretty similar, just a little more in front of him. So there you go. Pretty interesting. Over the years, Pat Perez, one of the more consistent guys out on the tour, and playing some of his best golf ever.